Apologies for this small delay in starting. Welcome to the first in the three-part series of webinars, around supply chain transformation. I'm Anil Chopra from CMR, and I'll be hosting, you for this webinar as we unpack, something that every organization today, is chasing right now, which is digital supply chains. Thanks a lot for joining us, and I do hope that your supply chains haven't been disrupted by traffic today, virtual or otherwise. We're going to start off by discussing where we really are right now as far as digital supply chains are concerned. So let me start off by sharing my presentation with you. So we recently surveyed around 300 CIOs and supply chain leaders, from sectors like manufacturing, automotive, pharma, healthcare, and logistics to gauge their understanding and readiness for digital supply chain. The result: enlightening, a little surprising, and at times eyebrow raising. So let's really dive into what we found, and more importantly, what it really means for you. So essentially, I've already explained this to you. We started with one basic question. How well do you really understand the difference between a traditional and a digital supply chain? Let's just say there's room for improvement. Digital supply chains aren't just traditional ones with better Wi-Fi. They're intelligent, they're connected ecosystems driven by data, automation, and real-time decision making. So the takeaway, there's a clear opportunity here for education, and not just for frontline workers, but for leadership also. Here's where things really get real. We asked how ready is your workforce to manage technologies like IoT, AI, blockchain, and mobile in the supply chain. So let's just say many of us are running Formula One cars with learner drivers. Upskilling isn't optional, it's actually urgent when it comes to digital supply chain. And here's what we found as far as the top challenges are concerned. So about 75% of the CIOs who participated in this survey said that their biggest headache is a lack of real-time visibility into their supply chains, while 42% of supply chain heads said that their top concern is workforce skill gap. So in short, we can't see what's happening, and even if we could, we're not fully equipped to act. That is the kind of situation that we are right now over here. Okay. When I look at the digital quotient of organizations, so only a few organizations have actually baselined their digital maturity. And while CIOs report an average of around 5 digital initiatives that they're following, supply chain leaders are also not far behind. They're looking around 4 initiatives. So at least the intent for doing digital supply chain, looking at digital initiatives is very strong. But we did find a tendency to rely too much on internal insights. That's what people are more relying on. And transformation cannot really happen in siloed chambers. It has to have external inputs. And we did really try to find out what's happening as far as external help is concerned. And I already talked about this. Where we feel external help is required is that they're calling out for external help, especially in tech selection. Which requires tech selection, looking at how can they scale their innovations, how can they manage their portfolios, and even compliance and governance also came up as areas of where help is needed, support is needed, because a digital supply chain without oversight is just chaos at scale. So essentially external help is definitely needed. Another area of concern is supplier integration. Now, where we found that about 10% of the organizations who responded said that their suppliers are fully integrated into their digital supply chains. So that's like running a relay race where only one runner has a baton. We need to build systems that are connected end to end, not just internally, but across the entire supplier ecosystem. So that's what we really found as far as supply chains are concerned. And here are our recommendations on what can you really do next. And we found 4 key actions emerging from our study. One is that you need to allocate dedicated budgets, because you can't let your digital initiatives fight for crumbs from the general IT fund. Look at investments in training. I really highlighted this earlier, where education is a must, and focus on upskilling in AI, IoT, blockchain, and RPA. You cannot really move forward without really having investments in training in these areas. And look at culture of innovation, where you can have a place where you can set up, where you can have it safe to kind of test, fail, and eventually grow. It's essential to kind of follow that cycle if you really want to see your digital initiatives, digital supply chain initiatives take off the ground. And engage with external experts, especially if you look at areas like tech selection and change management. It's essential to kind of do that. So those were some of the recommendations we really found. And to really sum up, digital supply chains are not just a tech initiative, they're a leadership challenge. And what we found was that people have the intent, and now we are hoping that with this series you'll also have the insights that are required. So obviously the next step is action from your side. And if you're thinking that this is too much, too many things to do, then you're not alone. Everyone has having similar issues. But ultimately you have to take the bold decision, because if you really want to run digital supply chain, you have to tend towards it because the world is moving towards it. You really need to take that decision and move forward. So that was in a nutshell what we are some of the insights I could share with you around CMR digital supply chain study. We will talk about more insights from this study in our next webinar, but till then I think we'll end that over here, and we'll move to the next session, and for which we have with us V. Srinivas Rao, short for fondly called VSR, and who'll take you through agentic AI, and how it goes beyond traditional automation to help you unlock efficiency and resiliency. VSR, by the way, is a digital consultant with CMR. He's the MD and chairman of BT and BT. He's an author, and he's also a digital advisor and a consultant to a lot of organizations. So with that, I'll hand it over to VSR. Thanks a lot for listening to me, and VSR, over to you. VSR, you're on mute.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we're able to hear you now.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So thank you so much, Anil, for that introduction, and also you shared some of the trends. Today, what I'm going to do is talking about this new trend, which everybody is speaking, Agentic AI. I mean, that is creating some sort of pressure and also pleasure, both. So let me share my thoughts on this particular subject. So we are here.
VSR, sorry to interrupt you, but I think you need to share the slideshow mode part. Your PPT is right now not in slideshow. So you'll need to change to slideshow and then share the slideshow part on the screen.
Okay, 1 second.
And while VSR sets this up, just one small announcement I forgot to make earlier. If you have any questions, please post them in your chat window. During the discussions, we will have a detailed Q&A towards the end of this VSR session, and we will take up all your questions then. So please keep putting the questions into the chat window as you listen to the session. Thanks, and over to you, VSR.
Is it okay now, this slide?
Yes, it's fine now.
Okay. I think we are here to share some of our thoughts on how we could improve the performance of this supply chain management using Agentic AI. So we will talk about that because this is an evolving subject, and new subject. So there is some sort of a demystification is also required. The numbers here shown are very indicative, so don't take them literally. But there is a possibility that when you take up agentic AI into this supply chain management, certainly there is a possibility of significant improvement in the performance. Like your forecasting accuracy might go up, our inventory holding cost may go down, and the lead time and contract cycle time might go down. On-time delivery rate will be up, order fulfillment time, response time to disruptions or any risk events. Then first response time and resolution time will be reduced. Finally, the emissions tracking and compliance accuracy might go up. Okay, whether only these metrics will be improved? No. Those things probably you might design. But the point here I would like to emphasize is there is a lot of scope to improve the performance of supply chain management using agentic AI. So that's the message I would like to give in this slide. So the next one, of course, to give a common understanding at a higher level, supply chain management is a very vast subject. Of course, some other elements might be missing here, but core items are given here. Demand and inventory management, supplier and procurement management, logistics and transportation management, warehouse and fulfillment operations, risk and compliance management, customer service, and after sales support. Let us take, these are all areas to be covered in supply chain. There might be so many other areas might come like supplier relationship management, so on and so forth. So what are the major challenges in supply chain? I'm sure the attendees have more knowledge than us because you are from that domain. So there are so many challenges in the supply chain management, and the prominence of the supply chain is going up, especially after COVID. So even in India, they have defined Atmanirbhar Bharat. One of the pillars is the supply chain management. So the major challenges are the planning and demand planning and forecasting. So if that is not accurate, the total supply chain will get collapsed. And there are so many disruptions might happen in this whole supply chain because there are so many touch points, partners, and departments it has to go through. And can you get the visibility? Because supply chain is not just simply one system. It has to go through so many systems, and especially software systems and all. The data integration needs to happen, and visibility must be there. That is also a challenge. Then how do you improve the logistics and route optimization, efficiencies and all? That is another challenge. Then workforce limitations. Finally, the quality control and agility. So these are all some of the major challenges in the supply chain. So I may not really go in detail. This slide deck will be shared. So summary of the supply chain management challenges are shown in the previous slide, and here some details are given for the same. All right, now if you want to address these challenges, it's not like you have not addressed, but some of the challenges still exist and some new challenges may come. It is imperative for us, you have been living in a world of automation. That means you might use some RPA, you might use some of the software applications like supply chain management applications, ERP and all. Those are all in the automation era. That means there are fixed rules and fixed set of workflows. They will be executed based on the situations, but that is not enough for you to overcome the challenges mentioned in the previous slide. It's not only overcome the challenges, you also need to create new possibilities or opportunities. That's where there is a need for augmenting the intelligence of the supply chain ecosystem. So this is very important point. Unless you improve the intelligence of the supply chain ecosystem, it is very difficult to resolve the challenges and also creating the new opportunities. That's where the AI agents will come into picture. So the key word here is intelligence. Okay, if the intelligence goes up, can you solve the problems or can you create new possibilities? So AI agents are going to really help you to enhance or augment that intelligence. Okay, let me give you what is an AI agent. This is relatively very new subject. AI agent is something you are mimicking the human intelligence into an AI. So what is intelligence? If you look at, so there are some parameters or characteristics I have given to say you are intelligent. Perception, reasoning, metacognition, planning, autonomous execution, learning and reflection, iteration and adaptation. So if you have these six or seven parameters, then I think you can say that the system is intelligent. So what does it mean? Let me explain. AI agent will have these characteristics. Perception. Perception, okay, let me explain here one simple example that looks a little bit silly, but still I want to tell that. If you are making a dosa, for example, you go and see maybe your mother is doing that dosa, or sometimes your sister. If you are probably married, then your spouse might be doing it. So you are perceiving something day by day when you are observing how your mother or a spouse or sister is doing that dosa part actually. That means you are interpreting the various type of data points you are getting it from that particular dosa preparation exercise by different people. That means what? You are recognizing some patterns. That means, oh, it is tasty today. Oh, it is too much oily today. Or it is something very thick today. Okay, there are so many data points are coming when you are observing every day. That is called perceiving or perception. But once you get that data points in the perception or observation, you have to reason it. That means what? Oh, it looks probably it will be tasty when the ingredients are like this. That is called reasoning. You're analyzing the information. Okay, so probably if the temperature is this much, probably the taste is higher. Or if the mix of this and this is good, then that will be tasty. If the oil quantity is this much, that's where you are reasoning it. And based on the data points coming from the perception. Okay, so you also know that the limitations, right? Understanding the limitations means, okay, probably it should not go beyond this temperature, then it will get spoiled. That is also a parameter or a characteristics of an intelligence. After that, you want to do yourself a dosa, then you plan it. Okay, you now understood, you perceived, you reasoned it, you also know what all the limitations are there. After that, you have planned in such a way you want to lay that you want to do that dosa, for example. Then you will prioritize, you will plan for it, what is the mix of that, everything. After planning, so what happens is, of course, this is if it is an AI system, automatically that will do the dosa part. But now you are a human being, you will execute it. The difference between human being and the AI is the robo machine might probably do that dosa part. But now you are saying execution part will happen after planning. Once the execution is done, what happens is you basically reflect. Okay, whether it is going fine, not going fine, whether the taste is good, not good. After that, you iterate and finally you will improve and say that this is the better way of doing the dosa. I mean, I'm just giving a silly example, but it gives you an idea of what is intelligence means. The intelligence means your ability to perceive, your ability to reason, your ability to identify your limitations, your ability to plan, your ability to execute, your ability to reflect and learn, and your ability to adapt. If you bring these characteristics, which usually human beings do, that is called AI agent. How you bring and all we can discuss later. Okay. So the AI agent is something you are mimicking the human intelligence with these seven characteristics. Then it is called AI agent. The beauty here is it can perceive itself without human intervention. It can reason. It can plan. It can autonomously execute. You don't need any human beings. And it can automatically learn and reflect. It also iterate and adapt. Okay. So this is called AA agent. If anybody asks what is an AA agent or if what qualifies an AA agent, you should ask whether this particular agent has these seven characteristics or not. One example I'll give in our own language. For example, let us say a smart inventory management, global retail chain. Okay. So perception, that means what? The AI agent ingests the data from RFID readers, barcode scanners, or smart shelves, okay, in warehouses and stores. Then you have you have the data coming from POS systems through API or CCTV cameras, computer vision to detect empty shelf. That means the perception, the data points are coming in. It is automatic. Then the reasoning. Then the agent is intelligent enough, the algorithm will take care, it will evaluate from the data points coming from the perception, what items are going fast, what's in short supply, and which location has excess stock. Okay. Then it makes a decision to a restocking decision and all. So this is called reasoning. Okay, then the limitations, the metacognition means what all the limitations it has. Recognizes the uncertainties, first time sales of a new product. If suppose flags for human review, suppose if you think that the AI agent may not do the right job, it has a lot of limitations, then you can put a flag or a interaction point by human. That means you say that human interaction is required here. Don't leave that part to the AI agent. The human can verify and validate and submit. Then only the agent can take to the next step. So understanding that limitations of the AI agent is very important so that the human interventions can be there so that the decisions will not go wrong. So this is the third part. Then coming to planning, as I mentioned, it creates a real-time stock reallocation plan. There is no need to have any human being to create the plan. So it automatically reroutes the stock from nearby stores. It triggers orders to suppliers, no human beings here. Okay, that is a beauty part here. It utilizes the ERP and other APIs, and it also considers what is the delivery time, cost, and local demand during that planning. So it's not only creating that plan, okay, restock allocation plan, it will execute itself automatically. That means it will put the orders, the purchase orders and work orders, whatever required, without human interventions, the AI agent can put it. Okay. And it also adjusts the quantities based on the warehouse space. So once the autonomous execution happen without human interventions, then it learns, okay, what are the missed deliveries or overstock situations. It's not like it does everything right in the first time. Only after it becomes more and more experienced and adjusting to different situations. So this is a continuous process, of course. So it has done the perceiving, reasoning, and metacognition, planning, execution, then reflection. After that, it continuously refines what is the better way. So continuous refinement could be whether APIs it can read and see that if you want to plan something like logistics or optimization, it can even take the data from external entities. Okay. I think this is an example I want to give. I want to pause here if any questions. First, I want to set the tone what an AI agent looks like with an example. Very simple. If you have perception, reasoning, metacognition means the limitations of that agent, planning, autonomous execution, learning and reflection, iteration and adoption. If you can bring this into AI, that is called AI agent, that act like a human agent. It will have the intelligence of the human, if not the level of the human intelligence, but the intelligence will be there to perform tasks autonomously. So with this background, we are introducing something called neuro supply chain management to reflect that AI-powered, intelligent, and autonomous supply chain. It is something difficult for all of us to understand everything in a single shot. That's where I want to give high-level picture today rather than getting into details. But the slide might be having more information for you to digest later. All right, so these are all the features what we conceptualized under this neuro supply chain management to give an impression that this is agentic AI supported. Okay, so I'm sure you know that the agentic AI uses deep learning, so neural networks and all. So that's where the neuro name has given here. So what that you are looking for example, if you are from supply chain or CAO organization, you want to have an end-to-end supply chain visibility and also predictive insights. Then you want automated and transparent procurement processes, smart warehousing and logistics optimization, proactive risk management and compliance, sustainable and eco-friendly supply chain operations, predictive maintenance, and asset lifecycle management. So these are all some of the features what we conceptualized. Need not be 100% comprehensive here. Some might be missing here, but key features are mentioned here. So which one I explained? For example, end-to-end supply chain visibility and predictive insights. You might be having some Internet of Things so that you can have a real-time tracking. You can use artificial intelligence for predictive analytics and digital twin for simulation, blockchain for data records. I don't want to confuse with so much technical jargon here. The key here is you have to use not only just artificial intelligence, other technologies also needs to be used in the neuro SCM where required, like IoT, digital twin, blockchain technologies where appropriate, and some places the augmented and virtual reality. But today we are going to focus mainly on agentic AI, while the other technologies could be complementary. Okay. So now look at here. I want to now summarize what is the difference between a supply chain which is traditional and agentic. So look at here, the traditional supply chain management, mostly you have already the robotic process automation and other ERP systems and supply chain management systems, which are mainly rule-based. So what happens here, look at some of the important steps in this overall supply chain. The tracking inventory, the store staff scans the barcodes or check the shelves manually. Then systems gives the alerts if stock falls below a certain limit. Then ordering stock, again, it is a fixed rule. The reorder every Monday or if fewer than 50 items and all. That means it is a fixed, hard coded. There is nothing like a context or based on the situations, based on the real inventory and demand planning and all, which are very dynamic. Those dynamism is not considered. It is a fixed rule you define. Accordingly, the system will basically trigger. Then if an item runs out, the staff notice it manually and request for the stock. Sometimes the customer never finds what they came for. Human managers plan where to move extra stock, often with delays. Next slide, I will show how the AI can manage it without human interventions. If multiple stores are there, how it can rearrange and restock and all. So after the sale is missed or too much is ordered, people analyze the issue and try to avoid it next time. But AI will minimize that. It will not do that mistake of too much ordering or whatever missing and all. So supplier coordination, mostly fixed vendors contacted by email or automated workflows. Again, who is the best supplier based on the predictive analytics at that moment of the time, based on the order and situation. It dynamically, probably you may not do it, mostly fixed vendors with email and automated workflows. So this is a traditional supply chain management. If you come to agentic AI supply chain management, the smart shelves will be there. Automatically measures the product weight, RFID tags show exact item locations, and camera also will check the empty shelves. There is no need to a person coming and scanning at all, right? So everything is now automated. Then ordering stock. The AI agent is now like a human agent. It predicts the demand in real time, places the order itself instantaneously, only for what is required using the APIs of the suppliers. The agent sees stock dropping and reroutes nearby inventory or orders faster. This AI agent again, it sees that the stock is dropping so that it reroutes nearby inventory or orders faster options before shortage happens. So it is very dynamic. It is regular. Then restocking, it shifts the stock between nearby stores or warehouses intelligently with no human involvement. Okay. If an item sold out last week or was returned too often, the AI agent remembers and adjusts the future planning. So what is the point I'm trying to tell here is the human interventions are minimized. The intelligence of AI agent is basically helping what all the tasks being performed by humans are performed by AI agent. What level of autonomy you want, that you can decide. Where you want the human interventions only for verification, that is fine. But the repetitive rudimentary task will be performed by the AI agent. This is the difference between a traditional SCM and agentic SCM. So in simpler terms, traditional inventory systems are like following a recipe blindly every time. Agentic AI is like a smart chef who senses what is missing, learns from guests, shops in real time, and adjust the menu on the fly. Okay, that's what the real, traditional inventory is like a rule-based fixed systems. Agentic AI is contextual, dynamic, sense, and respond. So how does this agentic AI works? I'm sure some of you are from software industry also, and some of you from supply chain. This is a bit crowded. Look at here. When you bring the AI agents, let us say there is a trigger point coming from the software systems or some other APIs or sensors or any other devices. First, there is a trigger point. Okay. Maybe the demand is up or down is a trigger point, and supplier is not dependable, reliability issues are there. Then AI agent automatically read that the supplier is consistently not delivering in time. So that is a trigger point. Then the logistics disruptions happening in the when the something is getting delivered, then there is some disruption due to weather conditions. That is a trigger point. Okay. So there are so many trigger points will come automatically, right? When the trigger point comes, there is no human being required here, so that the agents will be called. That means the whatever I mentioned, that intelligent AI agents. Some example agents are given here. These are all identified after discussing with the customers what agents are required for which situation. Few agents, demand prediction agent, inventory optimization agent. There are 2 agents here. Supplier evaluation agent, automated negotiation agent. Smart routing agent, fleet optimization agent, real-time shipment tracking agent. That means when a trigger point is there, some of these AI agents will be called. This is called orchestration. That means for that trigger point, which AI agent will be called first. After that AI agent, another AI agent, another AI agent. This is a workflow. So which agent in sequence or whatever back and forth, that is called AI agents orchestration. So this is an important area for AI agents to perform better. Then it's not only orchestration, right? Once that agent is called, it must be intelligent enough and perform the task which is basically expected to be performed by it. That means, as I mentioned, it will perceive, it will reasonate, it will plan, it will sequence the steps. That means execution, it will reflect, and it will iterate. So that is called AI agent logic. This is also very core part. So I told trigger point, then orchestration among the agents. While orchestration is happening within the agent, there is an intelligence in the context of that trigger point. It will be executed. Then while the AI agent is basically doing the work, it will interact with so many tools. Otherwise, the execution doesn't happen. The core is in the tools actually. That means the ERP system, supply chain management systems, or some of the procurement platforms, logistics and fleet management platforms, which you already have, of course. That could be ERP, supply chain, logistics. There are so many systems already there within our organization. So the agent will basically interact with these systems and perform the work. Otherwise, what happens through user interface, you as a human being is interacting with these systems today. Now you don't need to interact, right? The AI agents are automatically called through APIs, and they perform the task which usually you perform as a human agent using these software systems, right? So this is what a solution which looks like an AI agent. So some of the examples I want to give you, but don't get too much worried about this. These are all only indicative. Suppose there are 2 ways we want to present here this Neuro SCM solution. If you want to realize an objective in the supply chain management area, end-to-end supply chain visibility and predictive insights, then you can have 3 AI agents: demand prediction agent, inventory optimization agent, real-time shipment tracking agent. That means the orchestration will happen among 3 agents. Within these agents, the intelligence is built. That's where the whole crux of this. And the orchestration intelligence is there. Then these will talk to the back-end supply chain systems, procurement systems, and logistics systems and all, and ensure this objective is realized. Again, if you want automated and transparent procurement processes, 3 agents are there. Software, smart warehousing, logistic optimization, 5 agents are there. So how do you identify agents? How many number of agents are required? All those things depends on the problem statements and objectives, what you want to achieve. Here it is given for your understanding as a representative. So to achieve the objectives here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 objectives are given. which objective you want to achieve. Based on that, we can identify the AI agents and the tools. Then if you want to have a function focus, for example, if you want to have a proper demand and inventory management, there are 3 agents there. Supplier and procurement management, 1, 2, 3, 4 agents are there. All these are AI agents. So the capabilities as an organization, what you have to acquire is how I can build these agents with that perceiving, reasoning, planning, execution, reflection, and iteration and all, and how I can orchestrate among these AI agents so that my human intervention is minimized, but it is far better work will be done high quality and at speed. Okay, that's what the core crux you need to understand in the agentic AI solutions actually. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 functions are there here. For each function, I have given a very representative AI agent. That means what? These agents are nothing but your workers. Now you have to acquire the skill and the capability to build these digital workers in your organization so that your autonomous execution are nearly autonomous, because we don't want completely avoiding human beings, which is not right because AIs might do mistakes. So a partial human intervention might be required. Where that human interventions are required, you have to identify those touch points, integrating this whole ecosystem. Okay. Now, what will happen to the human agents? Today, you have so many roles. You are from supply chain, for example. Then you also need to map. Okay, if a demand planner is a role available today, probably the demand planner has to look at what agents I have to build in my role. I mean, with the help of technology organization, whatever. Procurement manager, logistics coordinator, warehouse supervisor, risk and compliance officer, sustainability and procurement officer, maintenance and quality control manager. Look at here. Every role, there are related corresponding AI agents needs to be built within our organization. Whether these are 100% right and accurate, no. You have to analyze based on your needs and requirements. You have to identify the agents, AI agents. So the role versus agents we have mapped here. Okay, but when you have these AI agents as a role, so we are not going to replace this role. What you have to do? You have to acquire new skills as a demand planner, able to work with these AI agents because you never worked in the past. Now what happens? Maybe 50%, 60% of the work what you have been doing is done by these AI agents. So you should acquire new skills how to get the best from these AI agents. Look at here in the last column. So what we are saying, your demand planner, you have to acquire the skills to become AI augmented demand strategist. That is the role you will get transformed. You are not replaced. So that you understand how to interpret the AI forecast, okay, and plan scenarios given by the AI. So all those things, you basically utilize the AI agents and then work. You and AI agent are working together, okay. So how you work collaboratively with AI agent is a core skill you have to acquire. And you also need to acquire a mindset. Your role now, procurement manager, you become a strategic supplier relationship manager. Logistics coordinator, AI logistics analyst. That means a lot of work is done by AI agents. A lot of data points are given. So you need to acquire these new skills, transform to a new role so that you really become very efficient and you can perform 2 or 3 times more work, because a lot of work is done by AI agents. You can take up more volume. You just need to go and tell, I have more bandwidth. Today your complaint is, I don't have time. I don't have resources. But now you are getting AI agents as an extended resources for you. You don't need a human resources. They are your digital workers. They are like your workforce. You don't need to worry about somebody to be recruited, right? But you have to build these agents within, or you have to get them from the marketplace, AI agents marketplace available in the platforms somewhere. Then you can look at. But still they are evolving. The marketplace also may not have all the agents what you have. Like this also, different roles. Current role is this. You will take the AI agent support here, and then you have to transform to a different role. Okay. So this is what I want to share. After that, I think the CIO organizations have to be very much prepared. Whatever I spoke till now is something like the supply chain managers or supply chain heads. They have to acquire new skills to work with AI agents. That means their attitude, behavior have to be changed. It's not I am working with now human beings, I am working with AI agents which mimic the human intelligence. That's where the complete change management needs to happen within the supply chain management department. But building these agents, integrating with existing supply chain management and ERP applications, and then orchestrating those AI agents, everything needs to be done by the CAO organization or with the support from the third party companies. Okay. So that also the CAO organization has to define a new project life cycle for these AI agents. Okay. So that's where I'm not spending too much time here. There are here, I think, 10 steps are there. Like any project, you have a software project, what you say usually, you have requirements, architecture, design, build, test, deploy. That is a typical project life cycle. But I am saying here for AI agents projects, you must have a different project life cycle like what I have shown here. Okay. So stakeholder alignment, discovery assessment. That means what? You have to understand if you want to get the work done from your outsourcing partner or by your own self within your department, IT department, the new life cycle to be defined for the AI agent projects. You cannot do it like a typical project life cycle. Okay. Examples I have given here, the 10 steps, so that how you build the AI agent, how you orchestrate the AI agent, how you integrate with the backend tools like supply chain, ERP and all, so that how you train the AI models and all, those things will come in this life cycle. Okay. And the CAO organization also needs to have a very clarity on organization structure needs to be slightly defined. Okay. Maybe you have a supply chain expert, AI architects, orchestrators, okay, integration engineer and all. Some new roles needs to be introduced into CAO organization. They cannot choose just like with the existing people. Existing people need to be retrained if required. All right. So to summarize, the key recommendations for embracing AI agents in the workplace is jobs will evolve. They will not disappear. So I don't believe that jobs will go away, but you have to understand what is AI agent. For my current role, which AI agents are required, how I can work together with AI agents as digital workers. Then they will evolve. You become a new role with new skills to work with the agents. The other beauty with AI agents is you can double the output without increasing the headcount because the AI agents will never get tired. They don't have biological limitations, right? So you can have the double the output. Then you free up the talent. When you are a demand planner, for example, if AI agent is doing 50% of your work, that means for a day, 8 hours is there, 4 hours you are able to save. Then you can do a great creative work and innovative work. Okay, that's where you have to acquire new skills. Whatever saved time by the AI agents, the 4 hours for you, for example, you should do high-end work. Then only your existence will be relevant in the organization, right? So we align or exit. That's where, I mean, it is very, very important for supply chain managers and others to ensure that you should be able to start working on with AI agents. You say that we don't need AI agents at all. The market forces will ensure you will exit from the business probably in the 3 to 5 years. And there is no surprise. AI agents are way to go. Your competitors, if they bring AI agents, if you don't bring, they will do double work with the same number of resources what you have. You will be out of the business, right? So upskilling is very, very important. I suggest organizations needs to set up now in their learning and development academies how to build the AI agent workers and humans working together environment and what are all the new skills required. If the time saved by these existing roles, how that time can be best utilized in their role for a bit of innovative and creative work so that their role will be highly relevant. So with this, so let us co-create Agentic supply chain of the future. So we can help in terms of Agentic readiness assessment, your organization, especially let us say supply chain. And then after that readiness assessment, you know the strengths and weaknesses, then identify the use cases, prioritize them, start small. And then we also conduct the upskill programs for the different roles within the organization. After that, we can take up some small proof of concepts because I don't think any organization wants to start in a big bang. So, okay, a particular function or a particular role, let us implement this and see how AI agents and human agents are working together. We call them as a business sprints, maybe 2 to 3 months time, you have to release something tangible. Then we can conduct the co-creation workshops to tailor the AI agents for our context. So I think that's it from my side. Over to Anil.
Hey, thanks, VSR. I think great, insightful presentation. I hope everyone got some useful insights out of it. Thanks for talking about how roles are changing and how people actually have to upskill, um, you know, in order to stay relevant. Because obviously, with every technology, you have to upskill. Because if you don't upskill, that's where the real threat is. So I think that is what the real thing is. We will now do a Q&A, and I'll request everyone, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat window so that we can start doing the Q&A. I'll wait and for a minute or so, and then wait for the questions and then start off. So please ask any questions you have related to digital supply chains, related to how it impacts your role, how it helps you in the organization. What can agentic AI really do? A lot of things that VSR talked about, anything that from my CMR's research findings. By the way, we will make them available to you later as presentations, in case you'd like to. And this webinar will also be available, on demand, so that you can refer to it later as well. So, waiting for your questions. So, VSR, one question I've just got is that, what are those, 2 or 3 supply chain functions where AI agents can actually be deployed, and kind of give you a quick ROI?
I think it all depends on, the very honest, the customer, right? What they are looking for and all. So, but in my view, probably demand planning and inventory optimization could be quick start. But we cannot say what is that at all. But those two probably could be a quick start is my view.
Okay. Now, companies already have, existing business applications and they're, already set up for ages, ERP and SCM platforms, from all the biggies like SAP, Oracle, etc. How can AI agents actually collaborate with these applications?
See, those applications are must. It is like they are the core, they are the base. That means the core functionality of supply chain management or inventory management, everything lies there. What we are saying is whatever human beings are doing with their intelligence, how you can really bring that wrapper on the top of this. That means, as I mentioned, you should have the AI agent with the required intelligence. You have to build that is called AI agent logic. Then you also need to have the orchestration of those AI agents. While it is happening, whatever orchestration you have been doing and the intelligence it got, it has to trigger and then connect with the supply chain management or ERP or any other systems as a part of this whole orchestration. So that means the APIs plays a very vital role. The way Agentic AI interact with these backend supply chain systems.
Okay. Now you really referred to some of in your session, you referred to some of the roles and how Agentic AI can actually help those roles, right? Now, basically means people need to upskill, people need to get educated, right? So what kind of upskilling are we talking about here? What is really required for, all the supply chain teams, so that they can work effectively with all these, agents that you really talked about in your presentation?
So first, what the organizations needs to do is, if particular AI agents I am building, which role and which agents are working together, and so that their mapping matrix needs to be done. If suppose you are a demand planner, okay, there are 3 or 4 AI agents are coming in. You have to work with those 3 or 4 agents, for example. So what you have to learn, how to work with AI agents is different from how to work with the different systems, right? So you have to now acquire a skills how AI agents work. That means the basic concepts of what is AI agent, what are their limitations and all. That is the first important point. Then you are mostly becoming not a doer. You are now becoming a validator, supervisor, collaborator, because the work what you do that is done by AI agent, right? Now you have to ensure that AI agent is doing what is expected to do. So that means you supervise. That's where I said it is not a completely autonomous. You might want to have a checkpoints in the middle. Okay, whatever agent is done, then you have to verify and validate, and you have to supervise whether the results are coming okay or not. So you have to acquire a new skills now, a supervisory skills, validation skills, and all, right? That is one. And third important thing is, suppose if because of these AI agents, you are getting a little bit time where AI agents are doing more job, then you have to look at if you want to grow in our career, you got now time, what additional work you do so that it will create more revenue, or it can probably reduce the cost, or it can give a new twist to the supply chain management. You can operational efficiency might be improved. Okay, I think these are all the three things what each of the leaders have to or managers have to acquire. First, understand AI agents, concepts, principles. You should learn how to work with them. Then you have to relook at what is that role looks like. You are a supervisor or a validator or a collaborator. And your role name also better you change it, because you don't call a demand planner I have shown in the previous slides. So that your mindset start thinking, now I am not a typical human demand planner. I am working with AI agents. When you get more time, thinking time you can leverage and be the innovator and creator. Then nobody can come and say you are not required for me. If AI agents are doing and you become only just a passive, then it is a challenge. Then I don't need you because AI agents are doing it.
Yeah, so you have to be able to work one step ahead of the AI agent so that you can use them rather than them using you, the other way around.
Yeah, I think the organizations have to understand that this is unavoidable situation. They might probably delay it. I mean, a lot of insecurity will be there. Oh, once AI agents will come, jobs will go away, my comfort zone will be disturbed and all. You may probably continue with that maybe 12 to 18 or 24 months max. After that, your competition will be probably 100 kilometers away. Your boards and your CXOs will certainly come forward and do something. So that's where my suggestion to mid-level managers is start understanding AI agents, how your jobs will be disrupted, what new skills you have to acquire today itself, so that whenever that agent's coming into your organization, you are very much ready to work with them, rather it is a surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. I think important for people to kind of understand that part, which is true for any technology. If I were to look at it, where any technology can actually disrupt, but in order to get disrupted or not is up to you also to be able to really understand how you can kind of upskill yourself, reskill yourself. Because if you look at maybe 10 years back, many skills that were there existed 10 years back may not exist anymore, and because of technology. That is the case. That's always a cycle. It always happens. So the same thing over here also.
Yes.
Important to grab those skills, understand what you really need to learn, embrace it. That's the only way to kind of move forward.
Correct.
Now I think many companies, I'm sure, would have been using RPA in their workflows, and they are understanding how traditional RPA workflows can actually handle exceptions and uncertainty. There's a workflow that is happening. There's suddenly an exception. The RPA will flow, throw off some sort of an exception, and you'll be able to handle it. How will AI agents actually do it? How can they handle exceptions and the uncertainty as compared to traditional RPA workflows?
See, when any exception comes, probably whether RPA or typical systems, you will have a trigger or something like a pop-up, and you will see it, or it might be in our inbox. Okay, then you as a human being have to go and address that exception. That's where in the typical RPA or traditional SEM. But in the AI agentic, whenever it observes something like an exception and all, it will analyze, it will itself will think, plan, analyze, and then execute autonomously the correction to that exception. That's the difference. That means whatever you as a human being expected to do, the AI agent is trying to do that. So the work will not be stopped, so that it will be continued without even human intervention. So the exceptions are automatically handled by AI agents without waiting for the humans.
Okay. Now you referred to Neuro SCM, and you talked about that as a solution. And if somebody wants to really look at piloting a solution like Neuro SCM, what is the kind of timeline that we're looking at here? I don't know, investments, maybe we can talk about if you want to talk about it now, or you want to give an indication, fine, but we can always take that one-on-one also, because it'll probably vary. And what is the kind of outcome one can really expect through a pilot of Neuro SCM?
I think any pilot, in my view, it will take 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
Because some change management is required, training is required, identifying the problem statements, and then assessing what is the current system, then where the AI agents can fit in, right? So you can take safely 8 to 12 months for the pilot projects. And I think the pricing and all, it all depends. We have to see that. So and if you want to get a real ROI, I think it may take minimum 6 months, 3 to 6 months after the piloting. You want to institutionalize and see the value, right?
Okay. No, take it. Makes sense. I think. So if you do have any questions around Neuro SCM and it's something that you really want to look at doing, do reach out to us. We'll be happy to organize specific sessions with you where we could take you through it in more detail and as per your organization's requirements. I see a lot of supply chain folks who are still logged in and listening to us. So if you do have questions specific to your supply chain from your industry, from your setup, you can ask us, and we will be happy to kind of organize that for you. So we do come to the end of the webinar now. I hope you found it useful. Thanks a lot, VSR, for sharing your insights. I am sure that people found it useful and engaging. We will share this PPT across with you. We will share a copy of the CMR report that based on the survey that we had done of supply chain leaders and CIOs on digital supply chains, to give you an idea of what's really happening in the market according to us. Please do share your feedback also. I mean, either it will be, the form will be there in your chat window, or if it's not, then we will send it across to you by email. But we would definitely like to hear your feedback on what more would you like to know about digital supply chain, because we do have a series of webinars happening on supply chain. We will reach out to you with a new date and the next topic very soon, so that if you're interested to know more about it, you can kind of join in on that. So that's about it. Thanks a lot for listening to us, joining us for this webinar. I hope you found it useful, and see you again hopefully in the next webinar. So thank you and have a great evening. Thank you, VSR.
Thank you.
For
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.